Hello students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Now today in this video we will be discussing about the properties of ionic compounds. In my previous lecture we have discussed the activities 3.1, 3.2 and other also. If you have not seen, you can have a look in that video also. Now today we will be seeing that in activity 3.13 what is being asked and how to know the properties of ionic compounds. So we will be performing these activities to know the properties of ionic compounds. In this you can have take help from your book for the diagram. In this it is asked, take samples of sodium chloride, potassium iodide and barium chloride, or any other salt also you can take from your laboratory. Now they are asking what is the basically you are seeing the physical state of these salts. If you have a look in the laboratory, basically this sodium chloride and all the ionic compounds are found in solid state. So what is the physical state? They are solid. If you take a sample, small amount of a sample on a metal spatula and heat directly on the flame, repeat with other samples. That means if you take the sample and on metal spatula, if you keep the sample and heat that metal, now what did you observe? Did the sample impart any color to the flame? Do these compounds melt? If you talk about the color, each each ionic compound have their own color imparting nature with the flame. So we will see for the sodium chloride first. If you see for the sodium chloride, it is generally giving you yellow flame. If you see for the potassium iodide or potassium chloride, it is giving you, if you talk about potassium iodide, it is yellow. If you talk about barium chloride, it is light green. Light green. If you talk about any other ionic compounds, suppose copper chloride is there. So every compound is having their characteristics flame. You will be getting blue, green flame. So this is the colors obtained for the ionic compounds. Now do these compounds melt? If you see, generally ionic compounds, due to the transfer of electrons, they are having ionic bond. As you have seen the bonding between metals and non-metals, it is ionic. And if ionic bond is forming, always remember there is a very strong bond formed between metals and non-metals. So if you try to break that bond, you need more energy, much energy is required. So that is why ionic compounds are not actually melting on normal temperature or room temperature. They require very high temperature. In your NCERT book you will be finding a list of some ionic compounds with their melting and boiling point. If you see, NaCl is coming to be around 1000 of, you can say that 1074 is the melting point for NaCl. If you talk about calcium chloride, it is also somewhat 1000. So this is the melting point which you are getting. That means 1000 degree Celsius. Above that only you will get the melting point for the ionic compound. Now let's check out for the next questions. Try to dissolve the samples in water, petrol or kerosene. Are they soluble? So if you try to dissolve the samples which are given in the activity 3.13 which you have taken, then you will be seeing that in water they will be soluble, but if you see, ionic compounds are not soluble in petrol or kerosene. Why? Because this ionic compounds are polar in nature, while this water is also polar. So like dissolves like. That means polar ionic compounds will be soluble in only polar solvent. So here water is a polar solvent, so that is why the ionic compound will be soluble in the polar solvent. Whereas if you see petrol and kerosene, they are non-polar solvent. That is why the ionic compounds remain undissolved or do not get dissolved in the petrol or kerosene. So are they soluble? Yes, they are soluble in water. But not in petrol or kerosene. That is why you have seen that they are kept in the petrol or kerosene, because they are not soluble in that. Now make a circuit as shown in the figure 3.8 given in the NCERT book. You can check out there, and here also I have made, and insert the electrodes into a solution of one salt. So suppose if we have taken one salt solution, and if we have made such an arrangement that electrodes are there, that is graphite rod in the form of electrode, beaker, all this arrangement is in the beaker. We have keep this beaker filled with the salt solution under test, which we are testing actually, and here the switch is there, bulb is connected. Now if you see that if such a circuit is completed, then ionic compounds will be just ionizing, and they are moving towards respective electrodes, and they will be, once the switch is on, they will be moving towards the respective electrodes. Suppose if cation is there, it will be moving towards anion, and if anion is there, it will be moving towards cation, and in this way the circuit will be completed. And due to the movement of these ions, what will happen? The bulb will glow. So what you will see, that generally most of the ionic compounds are the good conductor of electricity. So you can write that, what did you observe? So we will write that ions are formed and electricity is conducted, due to which the bulb will glow, due to which the bulb will start glowing. Okay. Now what is your inference about the nature of these compounds? What is your inference about the nature of these compounds? That they are the good conductors of electricity. So you can write that ionic compounds conducts electricity. Ionic compounds conducts electricity. Now let us check out for the properties of ionic compounds after the activities. If you see the physical properties of ionic compounds, that what we can see, first if you see, if you talk about the nature, then physical nature of the ionic compounds are generally solid. So we can write the ionic compounds are solids. So this is the first property. Why they are solids? Because of the strong forces of attraction. Due to the strong forces of attraction between the ions. Now what is the what is due to this, what happens? They are brittle. They are brittle and break into pieces easily. If you talk about second property, that is melting or boiling point, then I have already told that they are having high melting and boiling point. Why? Because of the strong forces of attraction. They are having means high energy is required or high temperature is required to break the inter-ionic attraction forces. That is why they are having high melting and boiling point. So you can write that due to high amount of energy required to break the bond, they are having high melting and boiling point. If you talk about solubility, then they are generally soluble in polar solvents, or we can write directly water, but are insoluble in non-polar solvent, that is kerosene or petrol. If you talk about conduction of electricity, we have seen that from the activity we have learned that the ionic compounds are the good conductors of electricity due to the movement of charged particles. Due to the movement of charged particles, they are conducting electricity, or they can conduct electricity. So that this is the things which we have learned for the physical properties of ionic compounds. Now let us check out for the questions. Page number 49. Write the electron dot structures for sodium, oxygen and magnesium. If you see for sodium, electronic configuration 2, 8, 1, as it is having 11 electrons. If you see for oxygen 8, so electronic configuration becomes 2, 6, and for magnesium we can write 12, so 2, 8, 2. As I have told you that whenever you draw the electron dot structures, keep in mind about the valence electrons, that is the last electrons are the valence electron. We will be only drawing those electrons only. For oxygen 6 electrons are there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if you talk about magnesium, only you have to mention the 2 electrons. Now if you talk about the question number 2, show the formation of Na2O and MgO by the transfer of electrons. That means you have to draw the electron dot structure for sodium, that is how the sodium is forming by losing the electron. So we'll write Na plus and electron, 1 electron. For oxygen, if you see that here Na2, that means 2 sodium are there, so Na plus electrons. So from the here we have got 2 electrons. Now if we talk about oxygen, we will be writing it is gaining 2 electrons. Why? Because it is 281 to 281 and becomes 28. If you talk about oxygen, it is 2, 6, so it requires 2 electrons, so it will take this 2 electrons from here. So both the sodium will donate their electrons to oxygen, and this oxygen will gain the electron and it becomes 2 minus by obtaining the configuration 2, 8. Now if you draw the diagram for this, that will be Na plus 2 and oxygen will be having 2 electrons. Here it will acquire and 1 2 minus charge, because one oxygen is acquiring 2 electrons. That means it will be 2 minus. And if you draw the structure, then it will be like this. 1 2 3 4 5 6, and this 2 electron will be donated to this oxygen, and it will be forming Na plus, and oxygen will be getting all the electrons completed by gaining 2. So both the representations are for the electron dot structure. Similarly, we will draw for the magnesium oxide. Magnesium is 2 8 2, so it will just lose the 2 electrons for gaining the electron octet complete. 2 8 plus 2 electrons, 2 positive charge, and this 2 electron will be gained by this oxygen, so it will be becoming 2 minus, and it will be 2 8. Now how will be the configuration? Magnesium is losing its 2 electron and it is donating this 2 electron to this oxygen. So in this way the electron dot structure will be there, and you will be getting Mg 2 plus and 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8 and 2 negative. So these are the electronic dot structure for this. Now let us check out for the remaining questions. What are the ions present in these compounds? So if you see, the positive as well as negative ions are present in these compounds. Why do ionic compounds have high melting point? Due to strong forces of attraction between the ions. Due to the strong forces of attraction between the ions, or between the opposite ions, positive and negative. They require high amount of energy. Hence they have high melting point or boiling point. High melting point. Okay, so these are the questions which we have discussed for the NCERT, and next we will be learning about the in-text questions. In-text questions we have already discussed, and next we will be learning about the NCERT questions given in the book. Thank you. Keep watching. Bye bye.